The stars were silent. Millions of eyes across the galaxy watched the live broadcast, but none dared to speak. Everyone knew what they were about to see had never been attempted before. Commander Alara Vey stood in the center of her ship, hands steady on the controls. She was human fragile by galactic standards. And yet, she had been chosen. It's not by chance, not by politics, but because she had volunteered when no other being dared. The mission was simple to describe, impossible to survive. She would fly straight into the black hole called Rev, and no signal had ever returned. Erebus was not just a black hole. It was the abyss, the graveyard of light itself. And the Galactic Council had decided to make a test of it. Who better than a human, the species known for walking into impossible odds and sometimes walking back out again? Her voice was calm as she spoke into the recorder. This is Commander Alara Vey of Earth, entering Event Horizon in 5 minutes. If this is the last message, tell my people I went willingly. Across the galaxy, beings of 1,000 species listened in silence. Some pitied her. Some admired her bravery. Others whispered that this was cruelty, that humans were being thrown into the void like tools. But none of them looked away. The ship drew closer. Stars bent like liquid around the horizon of the black hole. Space itself seemed to stretch, twist, and tear. The readings on her panels became nonsense. Numbers breaking apart into symbols no machine could understand. Inside, Elar's heartbeat slowed. Training told her she should be afraid. But she wasn't. Instead, there was a strange calm. Almost. As if something beyond the void was already watching her. She whispered, "Do you see me too?" No one heard those words. They were not part of the transmission. The countdown reached 0. Her ship crossed the invisible line. The galaxy gasped. The ship blinked and was gone. For a moment there was nothing. Empty silence. The council cut the transmission. The experiment was declared over. The human had been lost, as expected. But inside the darkness, Alara was not dead. She opened her eyes. There was no ship around her anymore, no panels, no alarms.
Ow.
Only endless light that moved like water. Time folded on itself. She saw her own hand stretch across centuries, her own breath echo across dying stars. A voice not sound, but thought rose inside her. You entered where no one enters. You did not break. You were seen. You were chosen. Her body shook, but not from fear. Something was filling her veins, something larger than her. She felt stars burn inside her chest, felt the weight of galaxies. In her bones. She tried to scream, but only silence left her lips. And then, just as suddenly, there was nothing again. Her ship drifted in total darkness. But the instruments still blinked, though she had watched them die. Her body still sat in the pilot's chair, though she had felt it dissolve. Alara checked her reflection in the black glass of the console. For a moment, she saw herself. 4. Another moment, she saw something else, something with eyes of burning white fire. She laughed once, softly. I'm still alive. But somewhere deep inside her, she knew that wasn't true. The galaxy believed Commander Alara Vey was gone forever. But she had crossed the horizon. The horizon had followed her back. The galaxy moved on. Days passed, then weeks. Commander, Alara Vey's mission became just another story in the endless archives of failed experiments. The Galactic Council announced the results with cold, perfect voices. The human subject has perished beyond recovery. The black hole test confirms total loss of all matter and signal. Many nodded. Some shrugged. Others whispered that the humans had been used as tools again, thrown at danger to see what would happen. But no one truly cared. That was the way. Of the galaxy, one being died, the stars kept burning. Except on Earth. On Earth. Her name became a whisper carried by every mouth. Children asked about her. Soldiers spoke of her courage. Families lit candles in her honor. The humans did not see her as a failure. They saw her as a warning that even the void itself could not scare them. But then came the silence, not the normal silence of empty space. This was different. Strange signals began flickering across distant listening posts. No one could understand them. Bursts of static, long pauses, then patterns that felt almost like breathing. At first, engineers dismissed it. Cosmic noise, nothing unusual. But then the signals grew stronger, clearer. They all came from the same place, near the edge of the black hole Erebus. And then one night, listening station orbiting Vega picked up something impossible. A voice, weak, fractured, broken by static, but still a voice. This is Ilara Vey. The technicians froze. One dropped his cup. Another stared at the glowing screen, mouth open. They replayed the sound 100 times, and every time it was the same. The dead human was speaking. The council tried to bury the report, declaring it an error. But humans do not forget. The message spread through secret channels, whispered in every dark corner of Earth's colonies. Soon the rumor reached even alien ears. She went in. She was speaking back. Government sent more ships to the Erebus system, trying to scan, trying to track the origin. Nothing appeared. No ship, no object, no light. Only the endless pull of the black hole. And yet, the voice kept returning. Cold. But not dark, I see. Everything. Each time her words grew stranger. She spoke of places that did not exist, stars that had not yet been born, and wars that had not yet been fought. The listeners grew pale. Some swore she was insane. Others swore she was telling the truth. One alien scholar of the Zaith race said, "Quietly, this is not the voice of the living. This is the voice of one who stands between life and death." But on Earth, the reaction was different. They played her messages in crowded halls. Families wept when they heard her voice. Soldiers clenched their fists and swore she was still alive. And in the dark rooms of military command, the generals began to wonder, if she could speak from the other side, what else could she bring back? The silence around her words became heavier each day. Not just silence in sound, but silence in the hearts of those who listened. It was the silence before a storm. One night, the signal returned sharper than ever before. Words were no longer broken. They were strong, clear, and filled with something that made even the bravest tremble. "I have crossed the horizon," she said. "I have seen what waits. It knows me, and now it knows all of you." The technicians in the station stared at each other, pale. No one wanted to admit it, but all of them felt the same thing, that someone or something was looking back at them through the signal. Then, just as suddenly, the transmission stopped. A week passed. 2 weeks. A month. Nothing. The council declared the phenomenon finished. An echo. A trick of the black hole, they said. Nothing remains. But Earth did not believe them, because in their hearts the humans knew something was coming. They had heard her voice. And though it had vanished into silence again, one truth remained. Commander Ilara Vey was not gone, and whatever had touched her inside the black hole was not finished with humanity. The black hole was quiet again. For months there had been no sound, no signal, nothing but endless silence. The council relaxed. The aliens whispered that the human voice had been nothing but cosmic noise. Even some humans began to wonder if grief had tricked them into believing the impossible. But then, one cold night on the edge of the Erebus system, the impossible happened. A ship appeared. It tore out of the darkness like a ghost, alarms screaming across every listening station. The vessel was battered, scarred, and covered in strange patterns of light, as if the black hole itself had carved its mark into the metal. The identification code blinked on the scanners. Earth vessel, Horizon Spear, pilot, Commander Ilara Vey. The crew of the nearest station stared in horror. "That's not possible," whispered one officer. That ship was destroyed. Yet the ship drifted forward, slow but steady, like something carrying itself back from the grave. Inside, Ilara sat in the pilot's chair. Her uniform was torn, her face pale, but her eyes burned with a strange white light. She did not speak. At first she simply breathed, as if relearning what air was. When the rescue teams boarded, they froze. She was alive. Her body had weight, her skin was warm, her voice could be heard, and yet something was wrong. Her heartbeat was slow, too. Slow for any living human. Her pupils did not change in the light. And when she spoke, her words carried an echo, as if more than one voice spoke through her throat. "Where am I?" she asked. "You are safe," the medic said, though his hands shook. "You've returned?" Alara tilted her head, listening. Two sounds only she could hear. Yes, returned, but not the same. They took her to Earth under heavy guard. The Council demanded she be isolated, studied, contained, but the humans refused. She was their hero, soldier, explorer. She would not be treated like a specimen. On Earth, her return was celebrated with tears and fire. Crowds filled the streets, chanting her name. Children reached for her hand as she walked past. Families held banners. She came back. But even in celebration, unease crept like shadows. People noticed the way lights flickered when she entered a room. Machines hummed strangely near her. Sometimes she spoke words no one understood, languages that did not exist. And when she dreamed, her screams shook the walls. One night, as she stood alone on a balcony overlooking the city, a general approached her quietly. "You shouldn't be alive," he said. "I'm not," she answered without turning. Her eyes glowed faintly in the dark, at least not the way I was. The general's hand tightened on the railing. "What happened in there? What did you see?" Alara closed her eyes. For a long time she said nothing. Then she whispered, "I saw the end. I saw the beginning. And I saw something waiting, watching it. Touched me. It will touch you too." The general felt his stomach twist. He had expected fear in her voice, but there was no fear. There was only certainty. In the weeks that followed, Alara began to change more. She could predict accidents before they happened. She could feel storms before the clouds gathered. The soldiers swore that in battle simulations her eyes burned like stars. And weapons refused to fire when aimed at her. Scientists tried to study her. Their instruments failed. Readings collapsed into nonsense. One fainted when Alara looked directly at him. He swore he had seen a galaxy inside her eyes. The council grew restless. They whispered that humanity had unleashed something dangerous, that Alara was no longer human at all, but the humans stood by her. To them, she was proof that even the void could not defeat them. Proof that when others broke, they returned stronger. Still, in the quiet of night, Alara herself wondered, was she truly Alara Vey, or was she something wearing Elara's face? When she touched the glass of her window, frost spread across it in shapes like galaxies. She stared at the patterns, listening to the faint hum inside her chest, and in the silence, a thought not her own whispered through her mind. "You are ours now." Alara closed her glowing eyes. She did not answer, but deep down she knew the truth. She had returned, but the black hole had returned with her. Nights on Earth grew uneasy. Wherever Alara walked, whispers followed. Some called her a miracle, others a curse. The world had celebrated her return, but now they began to notice the little things. She knew too much at first. It was small predictions that could be dismissed as luck. She warned a pilot not to board his shuttle. Hours later, the shuttle exploded mid-flight. She told a mother to take her child home from school early. Minutes after they left, the building collapsed from a gas leak. People started to listen. Closely, too fearfully, the military ran tests. Generals demanded answers. "How do you know these things?" they asked. Alara only shook her head. "I don't know, I just hear them, whispers. Echoes of things that haven't happened yet." Word spread faster than any official report. Soon, whole cities turned to her for guidance. Farmers asked her when to plant their crops. Traders begged her to predict the rise of markets. Leaders demanded she tell them if war was coming, and sometimes she answered, but other times she remained silent, staring into space with glowing eyes, as if hearing voices no one else could. The council grew alarmed. On alien worlds, panic spread. If one human had returned from a black hole with knowledge beyond time, What would happen if more tried? What if this was not a gift, but a weapon? In secret halls, alien ambassadors whispered, "She is not a human anymore. She is something else. Something dangerous." On Earth, however, her people still protected her. To them, she was proof of their strength. Proof that even the void itself could not erase them. But Alara herself felt no triumph. Each night, her dreams grew worse. She saw galaxies burning, species falling, wars that had not yet begun. Sometimes she woke screaming words in languages unknown to her, yet spoken perfectly. One night, as thunder rolled across the sky, she met with Dr. Rayner, a scientist who had once been her friend before the mission. He studied her carefully, though his hand shook when near her. "Alara," he said softly, "do you understand what you've become?" She looked at him with glowing eyes. "I understand more than I should. I know how stars are born. I know how they die. I know the names of black holes that no one has discovered yet. I can feel the pull of gravity around every stone, every drop of water. It is all inside me." Rayner swallowed hard. "That knowledge doesn't belong to one mind. No human should carry that." Her lips curved into a sad smile. "Do I still live?" The question haunted him, but he had no answer. In the weeks that followed, more proof of her change appeared. A storm raged across the Atlantic, the strongest in history. Nations prepared for disaster. Alara stepped to the shore, closed her eyes, and whispered a single word no one understood. The storm broke apart in moments, the sea calming as if obeying. Her will cameras captured it. Billions saw it. She was no longer just a hero. She was becoming something close to a god. But not everyone worshipped. Fear spread faster than faith. Armies began to prepare. Alien fleets moved closer to human borders. Some demanded that Alara be handed over to the Council for containment. Others whispered that she should be destroyed before she destroyed them all. And in the heart of the night, Alara herself wondered the same thing. She stood before a mirror, staring into her own reflection. For a moment, she saw herself the human, the soldier, the woman who had volunteered for an impossible mission. But then the reflection shifted. She saw burning galaxies inside her eyes and a shape made of endless light standing where her body should be. Her hand trembled. "Am I still me?" she whispered. The reflection did not answer, but in her mind, the voice from the black hole returned. "You are knowledge. You are memory. You are the key." She fell to her knees, clutching her head. The weight of galaxies pressed into her mind. She saw endless futures, endless deaths, endless beginnings. Too much, too heavy, too impossible, and yet she carried it. When morning came, she stood tall again. To her people, she was still Alara Veda, human who had entered the void and returned stronger. But inside, she knew something was breaking. Knowledge was power, and too much power always demanded a price. The world had seen her knowledge. Now it began to see her power. At first, it was only whispers. Soldiers claimed that when they aimed their rifles at her during training drills, the weapons jammed. Engineers swore that machines obeyed her without. Touch doors opened, engines started. Screens lit up whenever she walked near. Most dismissed these stories as fear and imagination. But then, something happened that no one could deny. A terrorist group attempted to assassinate her. They fired a missile toward the convoy carrying Alara through the capital. The explosion lit up the sky yet. When the smoke cleared, her vehicle stood untouched. Not even a scratch. The missile had twisted midair, bending around her transport as if space itself had changed its path. Cameras caught everything. Billions watched in shock as she stepped out of the untouched vehicle. Her eyes glowed white, brighter than before. She lifted her hand and every gun in the attacker's hands melted into useless metal. She spoke a single word. "Enough." Duh. Men collapsed, unconscious, as if crushed by an invisible weight. From that day, no one could deny it. Alara Vey had returned with power. Power no human or alien was meant to hold. Crowds worshipped her. Statues were built in her honor. Whispered, she was chosen by the universe itself, touched by something greater than gods. Others trembled, saying she was a weapon wrapped in human skin. The council grew desperate. In their chambers, alien voices hissed and shouted, "She bends reality. She is a threat to every world. Humanity will not control her. We must. But Earth refused to surrender her, the human leaders declared. Commander Alara Vey is not property. She is proof of our survival, proof of our strength. She will not be handed over. Yet even humans began to fear, because Alara herself could feel it. Power was growing beyond her control. She sat alone in her quarters one night, staring at her hands. She clenched her fist, the air itself cracked with light. When she exhaled, gravity shifted slightly, pulling objects toward her. The ground trembled beneath her steps. Her reflection in the window flickered. Sometimes it was her, sometimes it was not. Sometimes it was a figure made of stars and fire, its eyes endless voids. She whispered to herself, "What am I becoming?" The voice inside her answered as it always did, "You are not becoming. You are returning." Sleep offered no peace. Her dreams were filled with collapsing suns, endless screams, galaxies torn apart by unseen hands. But worse than the dreams were the moments when she woke and realized her room was shaking, the walls bending from the force of her nightmares. It wasn't just knowledge anymore. It was power. Power that bent reality. Power that refused to be hidden. Soon, entire fleets began to shadow Earth. Alien ships gathered at the edge of human space, waiting, watching. They did not say it, but everyone knew the truth. They feared Alara more than they had ever feared humanity itself. And then came the day the power revealed itself to the galaxy. An alien fleet, ignoring the Council's orders, launched a surprise attack on Earth. Their ships filled the skies, weapons charged. Prepared to end humanity before Alara's presence could spread, the humans scrambled to fight back. Cities trembled as the enemy descended. But before the first strike could land, Alara walked to the heart of the battlefield. She raised her hand. Every alien ship froze in the sky. Their engines died, their weapons fell silent, their crews screamed in confusion. The entire fleet hung in the air like toys in a child's hand. Alara's eyes blazed white fire as she spoke. "Leave." The ships obeyed, not their pilots. The ships themselves turned, engines roaring back to life, and fled into the dark of space. Billions watched. Billions whispered. Some called her a savior, others called her a monster, and Alara herself? She felt only fear. Because in that moment, she realized something horrifying. She had not commanded the ships. She had willed the universe itself to bend. And it had obeyed. She collapsed to her knees, trembling as the voice inside her whispered again, "You are ours. You carry the event horizon within, are the power that ends worlds." Tears filled her glowing eyes. She had returned alive. But now she wondered if she was humanity's hope, or its doom. The galaxy had seen enough. When Alara bent an entire fleet to her will, every empire, every council, every leader whispered the same truth. Humanity had become too dangerous. Or rather, she had. Meetings stretched across star systems. Alien voices filled grand halls with fear and fury. Some shouted that she was a god in human skin. Others declared she was a weapon that would consume them all. But in the end, one decision united them. Alara Vey must be captured or destroyed. The humans refused, of course. Earth declared her untouchable, a hero, a protector. But the galaxy did not ask permission. A hunt was declared. It began in silence. Fleets moved closer to human space, cloaked and hidden. Assassins crept into colonies. Spies poisoned the air with fear, whispering that Alara was no savior, only a ticking star ready to explode. But Alara knew. Her eyes glowed with warnings no one else could see. She walked among her people and spoke softly. "They are coming." She was right. The first strike fell on Mars, where human colonies lit up under alien fire. Thousands died before Earth's defense fleet could respond. The aliens were not after territory. They were after her. Alara stood in the burning dust of Mars, her white eyes reflecting the flames. The soldiers begged her to run, to hide, to protect herself. But she shook her head. They won't stop, she whispered. Not until I am gone. The hunt grew larger. Fleets surrounded Earth from every side. Armies landed on human colonies. Entire species united in fear of one woman, and Alara felt the weight of it. She had never wanted war. She had never asked for worship or fear. She had gone into the black hole to prove courage, nothing more. But now, she was something different, something the galaxy could not accept. One night, she sat alone with General Karos, the man who had once doubted her return. He poured a glass of water, his hands heavy with age. "They're coming for you," he said. "They will burn every city, kill every human just to reach you." Lara stared at the glass. Slowly, the water inside rose into the air, swirling into shapes of galaxies. Her voice was quiet. "Then I should leave. If I stay, my people suffer." Karos shook his head. "If you leave, they'll never stop chasing you. They'll use you as an excuse to chain us forever. You're not just one woman anymore. You are what keeps us standing." Alara lowered her eyes. "I don't want to be that." But the choice was gone. The very next day, the largest armada in history descended. Hundreds of alien ships, their weapons glowing, their commanders shouting, "Surrender the human." Earth's fleet rose to meet them. Soldiers screamed her name in defiance. Families hid underground. The world held its breath. Alara walked alone onto the battlefield. No armor, no weapon, just her. The alien ships surrounded her. Their commanders demanded she surrender. Their weapons locked on her heart. She lifted her face, her white eyes burning brighter than stars. No. The first volley of fire lit the sky. Missiles, lasers, plasmol aimed at her, but none of it touched her. Space bent.
Like folded.
The weapons curved away, dissolving before they reached her. The soldiers below screamed in awe. The aliens screamed in fear, and then, without raising a hand, Alara spoke one word. "Stop." Every ship froze. Engines died. Lights blinked out. An entire armada hung helpless in the void. She looked at them all, her voice carrying across every channel. "I did not ask for this power. I did not ask for your fear. But if you come for me again, I will show you what waits inside the black hole." Silence. Heavy, endless silence. The armada turned and fled. For now. But even as the humans cheered, even as soldiers wept with relief, Alara felt no victory. Because she knew the truth. They would come again, stronger, desperate, united by fear of her and worse something inside. Her had awakened when she stopped the armada, something deeper, darker. She could feel the black hole inside her whispering, pulling, demanding. The hunt was not over. It had only just begun. The fleets of the alien alliance spread across the black skies like a wall of fire. Their ships blotted out the stars, weapons glowing red, waiting for the order to strike. Every empire that once fought each other now stood united under one purpose: destroy. Humanity, before their defiance, spread across the galaxy. On Earth, the night was filled with fear and silence. Cities went dark to hide from orbital scans. Families huddled in underground shelters, listening to distant thunder that was not thunder. At all it was the sound of warships moving into position. The air trembled with an unseen storm, a storm not of weather, but of invasion. Yet Earth was not afraid. Hidden deep below the oceans, under frozen poles, and in mountain bunkers, human war machines waited. Titans of steel, railguns as long as, city blocks and fleets hidden in the shadow of the moon, all prepared in silence. Humanity had been building, waiting, and planning for this moment. The galaxy thought Earth would bow. But Earth had always been a fortress. The first alien bombardment tore into the upper atmosphere. Skies burned red as plasma fire scorched clouds and turned satellites into falling sparks. But the moment the first alien missile crossed into Earth's airspace, the trap was sprung. From the dark side of the moon, hidden cannons lit the heavens. Thousands of kinetic slugs shot forward faster than sound, tearing through alien ships before they even realized. The attack had begun. One enemy dreadnought split apart like glass under a hammer. Another erupted in silence, breaking into fragments that rained across the void, in Earth's orbit. Alien fleets pushed forward with relentless fire. Cities below shook as shockwaves rattled the air, but humanity refused to yield. Submerged submarines launched missiles that clawed into the sky. From volcano silos, rockets roared like thunder. From Antarctica, hidden arrays sent beams of focused energy into orbit, slicing enemy cruisers in half. It was not just Earth's military. Ordinary people fought too. Civilians carried rifles on the ground, farmers carried explosives. Engineers turned construction machines into war machines. Humanity stood as one, for they had no other choice: either resist together or die as a species. Still, the enemy was vast, endless, relentless. For every alien ship destroyed, 2 more seemed to take its place. The orbital battle burned the skies with fire. Oceans boiled where bombardments landed. Mountains split open under strikes. Entire regions turned into glowing scars, and yet humans adapted. Humans endured. In the shadows of destruction, whispers traveled across the world. We are not fighting for victory. We are fighting so the universe never forgets who we are. As the siege grew worse, the alien commanders began to wonder, why had Earth not broken? Why had humanity not begged for surrender? Why did this small, fragile planet fight as if it could never die? They did not yet realize the truth. Earth was not merely defending. Earth was baiting them in. Humanity had prepared something far worse than warships, something the galaxy had never seen before. The siege was not the end. It was only the beginning of humanity's counterstrike. The storm over Earth had ended, but what remained was silence. Cities lay in ruins, continents scarred, oceans darker than ever. Yet within this silence, something stirred a heartbeat, faint but steady. Humanity was not dead. The alien coalition, broken and scattered, had underestimated how far humans could go when survival was at stake. Their fleets were gone, their command fractured. What terrified them most was not Earth's new weapons or the burning remains of their armies. It was the idea that humans could rise again, no matter how many times they were crushed. Deep beneath the ruined mountains, survivors gathered: soldiers, scientists, farmers, children. They lit fires not just for warmth but for hope. Those flames became symbols, spreading from camp to camp, across ruined cities, across the ashes of a broken world. The last battle had shown the galaxy one thing: humans did not bow. Even if Earth burned, humanity's will burned brighter. In the hidden corners of the stars, messages began to spread, warnings whispered in fear. Carried on broken transmissions: do not fight the humans. They will always return. They will always endure. For humanity, this was not the end. This was the beginning of something greater. A vow was made in the shadows of destruction. Never again would they wait for mercy. Never again would they kneel. Earth was scarred, but it was alive. The people who survived now carried something stronger than any weapon: memory, unity, and the fire to rebuild. The galaxy had seen Earth fall. Now it would watch humanity rise from the ashes, and so the legend was sealed. Even when the universe turned against them, even when extinction stared them in the face, humans refused to die.